All right, men, let's land this plane strong. We talked about touch, presence, intention, emotional control, confidence, timing, and energy. But here's the controversial truth nobody in the dating space wants to admit. If you need techniques to make her want you, you've already lost. Let that sink in. A hug doesn't create attraction out of nowhere. It reveals what's already there. It amplifies your confidence, your masculinity, your emotional control, or it exposes your neediness, your insecurity, and your fear of rejection. That's why two men can hug the same woman and get two completely different reactions. It's not the hug, it's the man. Most guys focus on what to do with their hands. High-value men focus on who they are while doing it. That's the shift. That's the wake-up call. And here's another uncomfortable truth. Women don't respond to effort. They respond to energy. You can try hard, you can be nice, you can follow every step perfectly, but if your energy screams, "I hope she likes me," she will feel it instantly. So stop obsessing over tricks. Start working on your presence, your posture, your mindset, your emotional control, your self-respect, because when you truly understand yourself, your hug becomes natural, grounded, magnetic. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed how differently women react to you depending on your mood or confidence level? Have you experienced a moment where a simple hug changed everything? Drop your experiences in the comments. I read them, I pay attention, and I'll reach out. Let's build this together. 1. Control the frame from the first second. When you go in for a hug, most men give their power away immediately. They rush. They lean too fast. They wrap their arms like they're asking for approval, and she feels it instantly. Women are extremely sensitive to social dynamics. The first second of a hug tells her everything about your confidence level. Are you leading the interaction, or are you silently asking to be accepted? You must control the frame. That means you don't hesitate. You don't send mixed signals with your body. You assume the hug is natural. When you step in, you move calmly, shoulders relaxed, back straight, chin level, no nervous laughter, no awkward half step, forward and backward. Your energy says, "I belong here." And that energy shifts how she experiences you. If you move quickly and nervously, she subconsciously reads it as insecurity. If you move slowly and grounded, she reads it as strength. The difference is subtle, but powerful. Control also means you set the pace, not aggressively, not forcefully, but confidently. You don't let her pull away first out of awkwardness. You don't cling either. You stay present and release naturally. This shows emotional awareness. A lot of men think attraction is built by being overly eager. It's not. Attraction grows when she feels safe and gently led. Leadership in small moments creates big impressions, even in something as simple as a hug. If you always let her dictate the physical interaction, you communicate uncertainty, but when you calmly guide the moment, you communicate stability. Stability is attractive. Here's what most guys don't realize. Women pick up on microsignals. A hug is one of those moments. She feels your breathing, your muscle tension, your comfort level. If you are stiff, she feels tension. If you are relaxed, she relaxes. That's how emotional energy transfers. Picture this. You're greeting her after a date. Instead of hovering awkwardly and asking, "So, hug?" You simply step in slowly, smile lightly, place one arm around her mid-back, pull her in gently but firmly, hold for a second longer than average while staying relaxed, then release smoothly. No rush, no desperation, just calm certainty. That small shift changes how she sees you. Remember this, confidence is not loud, it's controlled. When you control the frame of the hug, you're not dominating her. You're showing her you're comfortable in your own skin. And comfort is contagious. 2. Slow down the hug. Most men rush physical moments, especially when they're attracted. The hug becomes quick, tense, over before it even begins, and that speed quietly communicates nervousness. When you hug her too fast, it feels transactional, like you're checking a box, like you're afraid to stay in the moment. Women notice that, not consciously all the time, but emotionally. Slowing down changes everything. When you move at a calm, unhurried pace, you communicate comfort. You show her you're not desperate for the next step. You're not in a rush to prove anything. You're grounded, and grounded men feel different. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how some guys practically bounce in and out of a hug? A quick squeeze, a tap on the back, gone. That energy feels anxious. It feels uncertain. Now compare that to a man who steps in calmly, wraps his arms around her with relaxed certainty, holds for just a moment longer than average. Breath steady, body loose, no tension, then releases smoothly. That feels intentional, present, mature. Women are highly responsive to emotional pacing. When you slow down, you subtly take control of the emotional rhythm. You signal that you are comfortable in physical space, that you are not afraid of closeness. And here's what most men miss. Slowness builds tension, good tension, the kind that creates awareness. When you don't rush, she becomes more aware of the contact. Your chest, your hands, your breath, the warmth. If you rush, she barely registers it. But when you slow it down, her nervous system responds. She feels the moment, and when she feels it, she connects it to you. This is not about dragging the hug awkwardly long. It's about eliminating frantic energy, removing the "I hope this goes well" vibration. You've probably ended a hug too quickly because you felt unsure. Maybe you thought you were holding too long. Maybe you didn't want to seem clingy, so you pulled away fast. That split-second decision often comes from insecurity. Confident men are not afraid of a calm pause. When you slow down, you also give her space to relax into you. If she leans in slightly more, you feel it. If she softens her body, you notice it. You're actually present instead of trying to escape the moment, and presence is rare. In a world where most people are distracted and rushed, being calm and slow during physical contact stands out. It communicates emotional maturity without you saying a word. The key idea is simple. Speed equals nervousness, control equals attraction. Slow it down. Let the moment breathe. Let her feel you're not in a hurry to leave. That subtle shift alone can completely change how she experiences you. 3. Use firm, not fragile pressure. Most men either hug too softly or way too aggressively. There's almost no balance, and both extremes send the wrong message. When your hug feels weak, loose, or uncertain, it communicates hesitation. It feels like you're afraid to take up space, like you don't want to be too much. Women pick up on that instantly. On the other hand, when a man squeezes too tight or grips too hard, it feels performative, forced, almost like he's trying to prove something. Neither creates attraction. The key is firm, controlled pressure, not crushing, not limp, just solid. When you hug her with steady, grounded firmness, you communicate strength without aggression. That balance is powerful. Firm pressure signals security. It tells her you're comfortable with physical contact. You're not scared of closeness. You're not shrinking yourself. And you're not overpowering her either. You're stable. Think about how different it feels when someone hugs you with confidence versus when someone barely touches you. A fragile hug feels awkward. It feels like the person wants out before it even starts. That awkwardness creates emotional distance. A firm hug, done correctly, creates emotional presence. It says, "I'm here." Not loudly, not dramatically, just clearly. Women are very aware of how a man makes them feel physically. Your level of tension transfers. If your arms are stiff and shaky, she feels that insecurity. If your grip is grounded and steady, she feels that confidence. Strength, when controlled, feels safe, and safety is attractive. This is not about dominating. It's about not being timid. Many men are afraid to be physically confident because they don't want to seem creepy. So they overcorrect. They become overly gentle, overly cautious. But attraction rarely grows from hesitation. It grows from certainty. A firm hug also communicates masculinity in a subtle way. Not exaggerated, not dramatic, just natural. You're not squeezing to impress her. You're simply not afraid to express presence through your body. And here's something relatable. Have you ever given a hug where you instantly regretted how weak it felt? You pulled away thinking, "That felt awkward." That feeling usually comes from holding back, from second-guessing yourself mid-action. Confident men don't second-guess during the moment. They commit. Then they release smoothly. No sudden jerks, no nervous pats on the back, just controlled connection. The difference between fragile and firm is emotional certainty. One says, "I hope this is okay." The other says, "I'm comfortable here." And comfort is magnetic. When your pressure is steady and intentional, she relaxes more easily. She leans into it. She feels held, not grabbed. That balance is what creates impact. So remember this: don't squeeze to impress, and don't shrink to avoid judgment. Stay grounded, stay steady, firm, not fragile. 4. Control the release. Most men think the hug is about the entry. It's not. The release is where you either maintain attraction or quietly lose it. And this is where many guys slip. They pull away too fast. They drop their arms abruptly. They step back like the moment burned them. That sudden exit feels awkward. It feels unsure. It communicates discomfort. Women feel that shift instantly. The release of a hug is a signal. It tells her whether you were present or just surviving the moment. When you end a hug too quickly, it often comes from overthinking. You start asking yourself mid-hug, is this too long? Should I let go? That internal panic creates external tension, and she senses it. A controlled release feels completely different. Instead of jerking away, you ease out of it. Your hands slide away naturally. Your posture stays upright. You don't break eye contact nervously. You don't look down. You don't suddenly fidget. You transition smoothly. That smooth transition shows emotional control. It shows you're not rattled by physical closeness. You're comfortable entering and exiting intimacy without losing composure. And that composure is attractive. Think about how awkward it feels when someone hugs you and then instantly snaps back like they touched a hot stove. It creates distance. It kills the vibe. Now think about a hug that ends slowly. There's a slight pause, maybe a soft smile, calm eye contact. The energy lingers for a second. That lingering moment builds connection. The release is also where tension can build subtly. When you don't rush to escape, you allow that split second of closeness to register. She becomes aware of the space between you as you separate. That awareness creates emotional charge. Most men ruin that charge by rushing. Another mistake is overextending, holding on too long without reading her body language. That turns confidence into discomfort. Control means balance, not too fast. 2. Not too long, just intentional. You've probably experienced that moment where you pulled away quickly because you felt exposed. Physical closeness can make insecure men nervous, so they retreat fast to regain control. But confident men don't retreat. They transition. That's the difference. When you control the release, you're showing maturity. You're saying, I can handle closeness without losing myself. That's powerful. Women don't just respond to how you touch them. They respond to how you handle the emotional rhythm of interaction. The ending matters just as much as the beginning. So don't rush out of the hug, don't escape it, finish it calmly. Maintain your posture, keep your composure, let the moment close naturally. Because sometimes the way you let go is what makes her want to hold on a little longer. 5. Add subtle emotional warmth. A hug without emotion feels empty, mechanical, forgettable. And a lot of men make this mistake. They focus so much on technique that they forget the feeling. Women don't just respond to physical pressure. They respond to emotional warmth. If your hug feels cold or disconnected, she notices, even if everything else looks right. Emotional warmth is not about being soft or overly affectionate. It's about being genuine in the moment. When you hug her, your energy should feel welcoming, not guarded, not distant, not distracted. If your mind is somewhere else, she feels it. If you're hugging her while thinking about what to say next, she feels that too. Warmth starts internally. Before you even step in, you decide to be present. You decide to enjoy the moment instead of analyzing it. That shift changes your body language automatically. Your arms feel more natural. Your breathing slows. Your chest doesn't feel tense. A hug with emotional warmth has subtle signals. Maybe you give a small, relaxed smile as you step in. Maybe your tone of voice softens slightly if you say something simple like, "It's good to see you." Nothing dramatic, just real. That authenticity makes the hug feel personal instead of routine. Think about the difference between hugging someone because it's socially expected versus hugging someone because you actually want to connect. One feels flat, the other feels intentional. Women are very good at sensing intention. If you hug her like you hug everyone else, she feels generic. If you hug her like she matters in that moment, she feels chosen. And that feeling is powerful. Emotional warmth also means your body isn't rigid. You're relaxed. You're open. There's a calm steadiness in how you hold her. Not robotic, not overly calculated, just natural connection. For example, imagine you haven't seen her in a few days. When you greet her, instead of giving a neutral, distracted hug, you step in calmly, smile slightly, hold her with steady firmness, and let your tone show that you're genuinely glad to see her. Nothing exaggerated, just a real moment. That small emotional difference can make her feel valued. And when a woman feels valued, attraction deepens. Most men underestimate this. They think attraction is built only on dominance or mystery. But warmth combined with strength is what creates balance. Too cold, and she feels distance. Too soft, and she feels weakness. The sweet spot is grounded warmth, emotional presence, controlled strength with genuine connection. That's what makes a hug memorable. So don't just hug with your arms. Hug with intention. Let her feel that you're there, not performing. Because when a woman feels emotional warmth in a physical moment, she doesn't just remember the hug. She remembers how you made her feel. 6. Stay relaxed. Under contact. Most men tense up the second physical contact happens. Their shoulders tighten. Their breathing becomes shallow. Their arms feel stiff, and they don't even realize it. But she does. The body never lies. When you're nervous, your muscles give you away, and tension during a hug communicates insecurity faster than words ever could. Staying relaxed under contact is a quiet sign of confidence. It tells her that closeness doesn't rattle you, that physical connection is normal to you. Not rare, not overwhelming, just natural. When you're relaxed, your breathing stays steady, your shoulders stay loose, your hands don't grip suddenly, your body feels grounded. That grounded energy transfers. If you're calm, she feels calm. If you're tense, she feels that too. Think about how obvious nervousness can feel in social situations. You've probably hugged someone before and instantly noticed how stiff they were. It creates subtle discomfort. Not because they're bad people, but because tension feels unsafe. Relaxation feels safe, and safety is attractive. Many men tense up because they're overthinking. Does she like me? Am I holding her right? Is this too long? That mental noise creates physical stiffness. Confident men silence that noise. They stay in the moment instead of judging themselves. Relaxation doesn't mean being lazy or slouched. It means controlled ease. Your posture is upright but not rigid. Your arms are firm but not locked. Your body feels steady, not frozen. That balance is powerful. Women often test emotional stability subconsciously. Physical closeness is one of those tests. If a simple hug makes you nervous, what does that signal about bigger moments? When you remain relaxed, you communicate emotional strength. You show that intimacy doesn't intimidate you. Another common mistake is holding your breath during the hug. It sounds small, but it changes your entire presence. When you breathe slowly and naturally, your body softens. Your chest moves calmly. That rhythm makes the interaction feel smoother. Relaxation also makes you more aware. When you're not tense, you can actually feel her response. Is she leaning in? Is she comfortable? Are her shoulders relaxed? Presence increases when tension decreases. A relaxed man feels experienced, not because he's trying to impress, but because he's not shaken by closeness. That's rare, and rare energy stands out. So the next time you hug her, check your body, drop your shoulders, breathe slowly, release unnecessary tension. Don't treat the moment like a performance. Treat it like something normal. Because when you stay relaxed under contact, you silently communicate, I'm comfortable here. And that comfort is magnetic. 7. Stop hugging from a place of neediness. Let's be honest, a lot of men don't hug to connect. They hug to get validation. And that's the problem. If you're hugging her hoping she'll like you more, hoping she'll feel something, hoping she'll finally see your value, she will feel that neediness immediately. Women are extremely sensitive to intention. When your hug comes from a place of, please choose me, it feels different. It feels heavy. It feels pressured. Even if you say nothing, your energy says everything. Neediness shows up in subtle ways. You hold on a little too long because you don't want the moment to end. You squeeze tighter because you're afraid of losing her attention. You linger awkwardly because you're trying to create forced intimacy. That doesn't build attraction. It weakens it. Here's the hard truth. If you need the hug to mean something, it won't. If you need it to spark desire, it won't. Attraction grows from strength, not dependence. From confidence, not craving. Too many men operate from scarcity. They act like this one hug is their only chance. Like if they don't maximize it, they lose. That mindset leaks into your body language. It makes you tense. It makes you overdo everything. And she feels the pressure. You have to wake up. A hug is an extension of who you are, not a tool to secure affection. If you're solid, calm, and self-assured, the hug reflects that. If you're insecure and chasing validation, the hug exposes that too. Stop chasing reactions. Stop analyzing whether she melted or smiled longer. That obsession is unattractive. High-value men don't measure their worth by a woman's response to a hug. They hug because they want to, not because they need approval. And yes, this might sting, but many of you are overinvested too early. You're trying to create deep emotional moments before you've even built real connection. That desperation pushes women away. Confidence is attractive because it's detached from outcome. You hug her the same way, whether she's obsessed with you or still figuring you out. Your energy doesn't beg, it doesn't cling, it doesn't shrink. If you want her to want you more, you have to want yourself first. You have to be okay with or without her reaction. That emotional independence changes everything. So here's the wake-up call. Stop using physical contact to fill an internal void. Fix the insecurity. Build real confidence. Develop a life that doesn't revolve around her attention. Because when you no longer need the hug to validate you, that's when it starts to have real impact. Let's end this the right way. Here's the controversial truth most men will hate hearing. If a simple hug exposes your insecurity, the problem was never the hug. It was you. We've broken down the frame, the pace, the pressure, the release, the warmth, the relaxation, and the neediness. But all of it comes back to one thing: your internal state. A hug is just a magnifier. It amplifies confidence, or it amplifies doubt. It highlights strength, or it exposes desperation. Women are not reacting to your arms. They're reacting to your energy, your certainty, your emotional control. And if you've been wondering why some guys barely try and still get strong reactions, it's because they're not performing. They're not chasing. They're not seeking approval. They're grounded. Most men focus on tactics because it's easier than doing the internal work. It's easier to adjust your grip than to fix your mindset. But the real shift happens when you stop needing the outcome. When you stop hugging to get something and start hugging because you're already solid within yourself. If that hit you a little, good. Growth isn't comfortable. Now, I want to hear from you. Be honest. Have you ever realized you were overthinking something as simple as a hug? Have you noticed how differently women respond when you feel confident versus when you feel unsure? Drop your experiences in the comments. I actually read them. I pay attention. And I'll reach out. Let's build men who don't rely on tricks, but on presence.